Good morning again. I'm Mauice and it's Friday again, and I have a new food for thought. I'm reading through the Old Testament in my morning readings, and I'm well on now. I'm on to Joseph in Genesis, but I came across Moses and I made a note for this vlog. What triggered it was the time when Moses saw the burning bush, and it said he went aside to see why it wasn't consumed. And the angel talked to him out of the burning bush, and he said this, "Draw not, come not nigh, put off your shoes from off your feet, for the place where you stand is holy ground." So my question to you is, and to me, what made the ground holy? It was only part of the planet. Well, we need to know where it was. It was actually on Mount Horeb, which is Mount Sinai. It's just another name for it, in Arabia. And God had separated or chosen it for himself. So out of all the mountains in the world, out of all the mountains in Israel, because there's mountains in Israel, and God chose that one for himself. Sinai, Horeb. Well, what does holy mean? Well, it means sanctified or separated from the world and to God. So this mountain was separated from all the other mountains in the earth and separated to God. Another way to look at holiness is separated for God's exclusive use. Don't cast your pearls before swine, and don't give holy things to dogs. If it's holy, if you've separated for God's exclusive use, don't use it for the world. That's in the Sermon on the Mount. But an example, the vessels in the tabernacle. They had a lump of gold to make a vessel for the tabernacle, so they made a vessel for the tabernacle, and there was some gold over, I'm supposing. So the man made a ring for his wife and gave it to her. Now the ring wasn't holy that he gave his wife, out of the same lump as the vessel for the tabernacle, or the tabernacle, that was holy. So what made it holy? Well, the vessel for the tabernacle was dedicated for God's exclusive use. It couldn't be used for anything else. It was separated from the lump of gold to God. Now the ring wasn't separated from the gold to God. It was only given to his wife. So what's given to God is holy. But if it's not given to God, it's not holy, whatever it is. Well, that was the Old Covenant, the Old Testament, and we can see that buildings and ground and vessels and people could be holy. But what about the New Covenant? Well, maybe I'll surprise you, but our bodies are holy ground, because we came from the ground. We're the dust of the earth, aren't we? We came from dust, we go back to dust. And God has chosen us. Therefore, we are holy. In fact, God, the Holy Ghost and Jesus don't go with us. They're in us. We're a temple of the Holy Ghost. We're a temple of God. Christ in you, the hope of glory, not Christ with you. So that means that our body is a temple of God, Jesus, and the Holy Ghost. Therefore, it needs to be separated for God's exclusive use. You are not your own, Paul said. Don't you know you are not your own? So if that's true, we should keep our bodies for God's exclusive use, because it's holy ground. Well, I'll leave you with 4 scriptures to think about today. Romans 12:1. Paul says we should present our bodies as a living sacrifice to God, and he's talking about the flesh. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. Separate it to God. That's your physical body. 1 Corinthians 6:15. Don't you know, Paul says, that your bodies are members of Christ? Shall I take the members of Christ and make them the members of a harlot? God forbid. Because my body's holy, so why should I join it to a harlot? Again, about our physical bodies. 1 Corinthians 6 verse 19. What? Don't you know that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost, which is in you, which you have of God, and you are not your own? You're sanctified, you're separated to God, for you are bought with a price. Therefore, glorify God in your body, not in your mind or your spirit, obviously, but, well, you do glorify God in your mind and your spirit, but here he's talking about glorify God in your body and your spirit, which are God's. So I hope I've made you think, and I hope I've frightened you and scared you. I hope you're convicted by the Holy Ghost that you keep your body separate because it's holy ground. You're bought with a price, you're not your own, you've been separated to God. A separated people, peculiar people, a special treasure to God. Well, the time's gone, so have a blessed week. Keep your ground holy and keep thinking.